Hi, my name is Selbi. I'm from Turkmenistan, and I'm a sociologist and documentary photographer calling from Washington, D.C.
Hi, this is
Hello.
Davide calling from Trieste, Italy.
Okay, my name is Evgeniy. I'm a philosopher and methodologist of science. I'm from Russia, calling from Moscow.
Hello, my name is Nazira. I'm a political scientist calling from Astana, Kazakhstan. So the last week's news is probably the best entry point to our project. So as many of you have heard, the PCR space rocket waste was heading down the Earth, which exposed territorial fears. However, the debris fell on the ocean, bypassing the land surface. So what's interesting about this case is that, contrary to the public panic, orbital debris is only a systemic problem when it's left in the extraterrestrial space. So since the 70s, hundreds of the retired spacecraft end up in the Point Nemo Pacific Ocean, which is the most remote place from land on Earth. Our space law team focuses on this, among many issues, amplifying the need for planetary jurisprudence.
We currently dwell on a land surface because of general technologies for bodily accommodation. Human is a creature that operates within gradient cascades of mutual automation. This impacts our survival systems. The International Space Station is the most known functioning artificial habitat for humans, which is so densely equipped with life support systems that it mirrors technology-human interdependence across the land surface. At the Aquarius Reef Base, scientists have to adapt to a highly technology-mediated habitat during a marine biology study. Astronauts wear spacesuits to protect themselves from intense solar radiation and to recirculate breathable air when they move away from the space station. Aquanauts wear exosuits to protect themselves from colossal water pressure and low temperature and to breathe air. Energy systems and artificial habitats are deeply interlinked since their efficiency relies on sustainable power. Unlike other sources of energy, nuclear fuel is dense and mobile. A nuclear engine was developed for spacecrafts. Likewise, the Sea-Wolf-class submarine also uses a nuclear source of energy. A colonial logic pattern of moving beyond one civilization to explore new lands, extract their resources and bodies, and discard whatever remains. Exploration, extraction, discarding. The pattern is set. Once repeated at the scale of extraterrestrial space and oceanic floor, its inner limitations are finally exposed. With the technological advances and arrival of new private and public actors, extraterrestrial exploration has once again entered public imagination. Ocean floor exploration was also made possible by technological advances. Such technological capabilities for exploration of extraterrestrial space and ocean floor exceed existing legal frameworks. Oceanic and extraterrestrial mining is now a reality. Both areas of extraction are forecasted to grow more than 20% over the next few years. Regulations for both use the concept of the common heritage. However, it has not been operationalized into a guiding principle yet. New property right conflict types call to redefine what it means to own something that is common. Operations and environmental damage of both extraterrestrial and oceanic mining are both hidden from the public eye, but they are still real. Discarding has connotations of rejection of something as useless or undesirable. To discard is also to make unseen. A key difference is that space debris is easier to locate, while a significant share of marine waste is harder to track with precision. More than 98% of low Earth orbit debris is accounted by 1,500 objects, each over 100 kilograms. 13% of marine waste volume is comprised of microplastics. Legislation regarding space debris is tied to the state on which the space object was launched. It is, however, Wake, whose duty it is to remove it from the orbit. Despite recent efforts to develop a draft resolution on marine litter and microplastics, there is still no legislation in place. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch and the Great Garbage Shell are expanding rapidly and out of control, both physically and legally. Current legal regimes are insufficient for planetary integrity of Earth. Anthropogenic damage to Earth is underestimated because sequences of its causes and effects are obscured. Distant from land surface, oceanic and orbital degradation has a direct but invisible impact. Depiction of those causal change produced by disposals can be a foundation for a damage evaluation methodology. While sources of different types of waste are terrestrial, operationalizing the capacity to shift between their descriptions as discrete objects or as continuous areas is necessary. Positioning of pollution types on this gradual line of such shifts demands for distinct environmental regulations. Scientists develop standard operating procedures for return to Earth. They are an optimal baseline to design laws for interactions of land-surface ecosystems. The private actors are largely unaccounted for environmental exploitation by the existing legal frameworks. Accountability for the actions of all stakeholders must be at the core of planetary space law. Many non-human species have evolved on Earth as our companions. Those connections as living organisms on land surface are more apparent on marine and space missions. Similarly, robots are our fellow Earthlings as we jointly sustain life support systems. Deep ocean and deep space require us to adapt to artificial habitats. Such explicit interdependence of Earthlings and technologies illuminates already existent, though implicit, relationship in Earth infrastructure. This knowledge should guide our treatment of automation design on land surface. Non-discrimination demands are an inclusive land surface agenda. Paranaut projects are also piloted to employ people with disabilities and no prior extraterrestrial work experience. However, rehab for returning cosmonauts with industrial disabilities is a separate program. Technologies already sustain our livelihoods here as much as in the ocean or in the orbit. Our sustainability efforts do not target the totality of anthropogenic climate change. Earthlings might soon emerge as supernauts, tethered to their life's critical systems, walking not on the moon or Mars, but on Earth, filled with omnipresent microplastic and discrete spacecraft parts, the only home that we have. How can we transform legal regimes to regulate our planet as a whole?